Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL. And today we're working on one of my own personal patterns, something I've been doing probably since the 80s. It's an interesting kind of a yin-yang thing again, where if you were to double it, the second part of the pattern ends up being the same as the first part. So it doesn't look like the yin-yang when it's just a single like this is, but yeah, the counterparts are actually like the same, which is pretty neat. This pattern like makes for like cool bags. In fact, I made a pillow out of this same exact pattern. But what I have never done before was to do it with the single strands like this is. So I took 6 individual strands of embroidery floss, made a kumi loop with it, which I didn't think was possible until recently. And then turned that into a bracelet. And I really, really like it. Because it's so petite, it's so thin, it's so small. It's like just over a cm, I think. Hang on, if I put it on I have a tattoo of, yeah, it's about a cm wide. So yeah, it's really, really pretty. It's some string that was left over from a bag project that I was getting started, and I had some extra strands, and I thought would be really cool just to do a kind of a color test to see what I thought of those particular colors. And I really like it. It pops kind of like the pinks and stuff side of it. Seems like a rose against the rose bush with the greens. So I really like how that part turned out. The one thing I didn't anticipate though is that the fact that it took me an hour and a half to make it. Typically a bracelet just a little bit smaller than this, like with doing the 12 string and doing it doubled up or whatever, it wouldn't include that beginning green part at the top and then just like work its way down from there. Usually those take about an hour. So I anticipated this to be, you know, no more than an hour 10, hour and 20. But it took me an hour and a half to make it. And I'm not sure if that's just because the smaller strands are just a little bit more finicky and trying to keep the bracelet nice and straight. Maybe that added a little bit more time. I don't know. I'm kind of looking forward to the next one, so that way we can kind of start working on some averages here, because I haven't done that many that are this thin. Also, it's about 15 cm long, which is cool. That's a very reasonable length, but I think I might mess with the pattern a little bit. Maybe, you know, maybe add a cm worth to it, or at least make it available. Like if the pattern could stand to be just a little bit longer, you know, add a few more rows to either end. I did that before with my template for the 24 strings, so it's not that big of a deal to actually just add a few more rows. And basically I put a little dotted line around it, just so that way I can kind of recognize where like the normal is, and then have like, I don't know, 3 or 4 more rows above that if I want to, I have those at my disposal. So, you know, it could be a thing. It could look pretty cool. Yeah, so yeah, the green is the one where it sort of shifted off. You can imagine that if you double this pattern, that green would look like the same as what the red is, the same repetitive shape or whatever it is. That was kind of what I came up with when I was like designing the pattern. And yeah, I like it. And then the middle one, the next red one, gets, instead of having like 3 diamonds in it, it gets 2. That was because the overall length of it was a little bit of an issue, as well as the fact that in this case, the dark red and the dark green, those strings get used a lot more. And so when it was doubled up and I was using quarter length strings, I would run a real risk of running out of string. So it kind of finding the right length so I wouldn't run out of string was a real big thing back in the day. So now with a third length, I had absolutely plenty left over. It still used the darker colors much more than the others. I kind of knew that going into it. If you're one of those people who tries to like minimize the waste or whatever, just know that you need the darker ones to be longer. It just is. So, yeah, I don't, because I use Embroideryfloss, because it comes like 8 meters on a skein. I don't try to like measure it out and try to, use the leftovers, because you just end up with pieces that you can't use for anything anyways. So it doesn't seem that beneficial to me. You may also notice that I have a real systematic way of kind of going through this whole pattern, because I've done this a number of times. It's very systematic, where I do on the right hand side work it till I can't anymore, then I shift over to the left hand side, work that till I can't, and just kind of it goes back and forth, kind of ebb and flow right there of getting the pattern just to do what I can in the most efficient way possible. So that's a thing. Hang on, I'm past the halfway point. I almost forgot. Quick shout out to my YouTube members who make all this stuff possible. This string here happens to be something for a bag, so like that, there's actually quite a bit of these colors that are here in the office. It's gonna be pretty. It's gonna be pretty neat. I like it. It's a very different pattern than this though, so we'll see how that turns out. Yeah, I sped this up really fast, despite the fact that, it was an hour and a half. I sped it up a lot because I was afraid I'd run out of things to talk about, which is sort of happening. I don't know. If you have questions, you want to know about making bracelets, you're curious, anything that maybe there's a video already for it. If not, then maybe I can make a video for you to help explain how to make stuff. So I really do try to help out wherever I can. There was quite a number. We had an art fair recently. Quite a number of people had lots of questions. It was kind of fun. So yeah, I kind of really like that stuff. It was pretty neat. Yeah, so this is the last red segment. I also might point out the fact that I'm really working a long way from the clip. I kind of want you guys to be able to see like what's going on, but that is a long ways from the clip. It's you run the risk of it getting kind of banana shaped if you're like that far away. Of course, I have a lot of practice. I know to keep the strings down low and use caution when working it. So there it goes, shift it up. So this is the end of the last of the red ones, and then there's just a little bit of green left. Oh, so if you did have the questions, probably YouTube or Discord are probably the best places to ask the questions, where I'm going to actually get like a notification to check it out. Just makes sense, I guess. What else can I tell you? Yeah, I'm completely running blank at this point. It's a good looking bracelet. The pattern will be available over on my website, akaawol.com. You can check it out. There's already, the pattern's already over there for the doubled up version. This will be the same, just it goes a lot further down. That's all. This whole green area doesn't exist in the regular version, so there you go. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you could hit the like button, it helps the channel greatly. And as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.